We are live. Welcome, everyone, to our daily success mastermind with John Lavenia. That's me. Welcome. Glad you're here. It is Fun Friday, the first Friday of October 2021. So we have dress up. Formal Friday. Lindsay's looking formal. Good to see you, Lindsay. Yeah, good times. Good time with her Aerosmith shirt. That is awesome. My favorite color, black. You look great. Linda's here, Suzanne's here, and I am here. I'll tell you what, I've got a. First of all, let me say that that Ego Obi had our practical entrepreneurial tips session this morning at 4:00 in the morning for me. I'll be getting the recording posted of that. It was kind of funny. Yesterday, I was asking Ego, "Where's the recording?" Because she gave me the title of what she was doing. By the way, the session is tips to surviving the first year of business, right? I said, Ego, where's the recording? And then I remembered, oh, it's Thursday. Okay, got it. So Ego's very organized, right? She does stuff in advance. A lot of times our other facilitators, I have to beg them for a title and they finally give it to me. But everyone here is awesome. Like people who volunteer their time here with the Success Mastermind, it is just, what a great group. Let me go ahead and get this phone out of here because it was blowing up in my pocket. You guys, you keep your phones on vibrate. Mine's are on vibrate all the time. Always, always, always. Like it never, ever, ever, ever rings. And so I get interesting vibrational effects all day, like in my pocket. Okay. Why am I bringing that up? Because it's Fun Friday and I don't have any other jokes to tell you. Anybody got a joke or got a dog or a cat? Other dogs are in the other room. I'm not going to go get them. Anybody got something funny you want to say? Linda, you got something funny? No? Well, it's good just hearing your laugh. Okay. Hey, Coral's here. Good to see Daisy and a bunch of other people tuning in. Welcome, Ace. So quick idea that I got to share with you all here today, as we are in the first day of the fourth quarter. It is upon us. Yes, we made it 3 quarters through this very interesting year, right after another interesting year that we just had. And so one thing that we know is that since we have 3 months left, we have a very auspicious and predestined opportunity for us to go on a 90-day blitz. Doesn't that sound fun? We've talked about this before, that we could do something in 90 days. Some people call it like a 12-week year. I know Mandy's familiar with this. Hi, Mandy. Right? Many of you are familiar with this. There was actually a book published, I think, or some course or something, 12-week year. I'm not terribly familiar with it, but some people like it. But the idea here is that in 90 days or 12 weeks, or 3 months, or quantify it however you like, we can accomplish like that which I suppose could take people a year or more. Now, how does that happen? That happens with intent. But it's one thing to intend, and I love intention, right? I love focusing on that. I've read books on intention. Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intention as a Spiritual Force in Your Life, and that's all very nice. Okay, so intention. Yes, we've got that. Hopefully we do. But then what about actual execution? It's one thing to intend a result. It's another thing to accomplish that result. And so when I think about anything that has been successful, an intention that has manifested in my life, it has 2 things that show up again and again and again. One is movement. Okay, so it's not a static, right? It's a dynamic thing. So by the end of this 90 days, we'll be saying, Old Lang Syne and Happy New Year and whatever. So by the end of this 90 days, there will hopefully have been some movement on your part and in your business and your life and your statistics and whatever. Okay. But that movement is also, if successful, is also coupled with orderly movement, as opposed to random movement. So before we went live, I had heard the word try. Somebody had said try. I don't recall who that was, but it came out of somebody's mouth. And the idea of trying, to me, Okay, just thinking about when I say try, because it comes out of my mouth sometimes too. Still, when I say that, what does that mean? That means perhaps some disorder in terms of my thinking and my action. Disorder in the mind leads to disorderly action or no action, right? So if all success is based on orderly movement, okay, then I've got to, well, I think I would automatically stop having considerations like trying or being vague in some way or less than committed to my intention. Now, the book that we're all going through right now, if you're doing our book study group on Monday nights, is Wake Up and Live by Dorothea Brande. And in that book, she gives us in chapter 5, she gives us the big nuke, here's the main thing of all main things that turned her whole life around. And it's one line. And if you've been studying the book, you know what that line is. And that line is, act as though it were impossible to fail. Now that sounds different than I'll try, right? That sounds different. Okay. So act as though it were impossible to fail. So what she's talking about is not being encumbered with all these other considerations around your intention. So I've got intent, and then I can also have, and I often do, counter intention. Yeah, but, well, I'm not sure about that. And like all these other things which aberrate or skew the vector upon which I am attempting to move or am moving. See, I just said attempting to move. That's akin to trying, right? So here's the direction, the speed, the velocity, the direction, the vector that I'm moving upon. But, right, that doesn't mean that I've got all the answers up front. Okay, the fact that I'm moving means that I've already completed every puzzle, and that I've got nothing to learn. Okay, but I can't learn without experiencing non-optimal conditions. Who was it that said, how did you become successful? And they said, good decisions. And they said, well, how do you make good decisions? They said, experience. And I said, well, how do you get experience? They said, bad decisions. Right. Okay, great. So if that's the route, what is something that is a known necessary component for all that? Decisions, good or bad, right? Decisions keep showing up. Indecision, oh, now that's not movement, and it's not orderly. So orderly movement is what we're looking for. So what can we do to cause orderly movement over the next 90 days in our life and our businesses and whatever we're engaged in? Well, I would say the first thing we've got to do is look. And what could we look at? We can look at the 90 days or the 12 weeks or the 3 months or however you like to quantify it. I like 90 days. Okay. Because then I can actually break it down and reverse engineer. Like here's a 90-day goal, and I can reverse engineer down to the day actions that I could do, which are orderly and predetermined and decided upon, that I can then, go ahead and put and look at and see on the calendar. I see it. There it is. So when we do this, we're creating not only order in our mind, but also in our calendar and our use of the most precious commodity we have, which none of us are going to have in 90 days. And that is the time that it takes between now and 90 days from now. Like that, you will spend that. You have to. Okay. So since we can't save it, and since we can't, play the excuse game or getting ready to get ready or all the other things that Dorothea Brande talked about in the book, Wake Up and Live, right? The rewards of failure and the will to fail. And I guess the psychic recompense of tacit consent when you and I can all be mediocre together and be very social and agreeable about that. Like all that stuff is gone, right? All we know is it's impossible to fail. We're going to have a result. And it's going to be better than the one that we have right now. And why is it going to be that? Because we're going to put in some order in our mind and on our calendar, and we're going to move, not try to move. We're going to move. Now, will we hit every target successfully? I hope we do. I hope we exceed the targets. I don't have a crystal ball. All I know is we're going to move. When? Well, now. When would now be a good time to move? Right. Okay. Now then, let's do that. And so with that confidence, and I would even say flippancy, with that flippancy about it, right? It's impossible to fail. with that sort of an attitude, do you think you'll move faster or slower? Of course, faster, right? I mean, when people are confident in their abilities, think of well, you guys know I study martial art. I study Israeli Krav Maga, right? So this is something where I'm a newbie compared to more experienced people, and they have obviously more skill and also more confidence in their skill. So whereas I'm very mechanically and making sure I've got the right postures and doing the moves effectively, and it might take me 5 seconds, which is a long time in a fight, right? 5 seconds to correctly apply the defense or whatever the combative is. Other people, they got it done in 3/4 of a second. So you see the difference there, right? But they're confident about it and they're not doubting themselves all the time. Okay. Now there is the time to be, the student, the neophyte, to know that you don't know. Okay, but my goodness, did any of us just show up here on planet Earth yesterday? Are there not things that you know and that you're competent in? Of course they are. So can we capitalize? I guess here's the question: over the next 90 days, can we capitalize on your strengths without inhibition, without all these considerations and what if and blah blah blah, right? And indecision and randomity, and can we just get on with it? We can. But we've got to decide to do that or not, right? It's your choice, okay? But we can't stand on our doubts and expect some grand result. I think the sad thing for a lot of people is they don't expect a grand result. In fact, they stop dreaming. I'm not pointing a finger or accusing anyone here of that. I mean, if you're in this conversation, why would you show up here unless you had, the idea or the expectation that you could be doing have more, right? I mean, people who are in a state of apathy and depression or whatever, they just go be miserable, right? They're not in this conversation. And I used to be one of them, right? I mean, that's why I've been in this conversation for 35 years, because I really needed it, right? My life wasn't working. So knowing that, I can now continue to sharpen the saw, create order. I mean, you think about, I just said sharpen the saw, which is reminiscent of Steve Covey, right? In his classic book, which we also studied, right? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit number 7 was sharpen the saw. Why? Well, can you not improve? Can you not see things better than you did before you had those other experiences by applying to whatever degree the other 6 habits, being proactive, seeking to understand before being understood, right? Putting first things first, all these things that he talked about in the book, right? Synergize, right? These are the 7 habits, right? Well, number 7 was to sharpen the saw. And he talked about, certainly there's the idea of a day of rest, which can also be put on the calendar, right? Because if it's on my calendar, it exists. And so there are times to not effort in the direction of the goal. And yet that rest can also include, and I believe should, some introspection, certainly some study, right? We can get ideas from other sources, but to introspect and to look at how we can assimilate and internalize principles, which we may have been shared with us from some author or something, okay? But to actually see how we can use that in our lives. I think that's the main thing. Well, I do that every day. I think we do that every day, that we show up here in conversations like this. We look at ways that we can use principles in common hours, right? Because look, as long as I'm reading the book, whether it's, the most lofty stuff that's ever been written or an instruction manual or whatever, right? As long as I am consuming content, I am the effect, not the cause, I am the effect of whatever the author said. But when I seek to turn that flow around, when I seek to outflow that which I've inflowed, right? When I seek to turn that around, now I become cause. And so it's easy to inflow. It's easy to consume, right? Most people are consumers. Okay. How can we create some balance there? Can we create some reversal of that flow and balance that flow so that we can also correctly recognize that we are cause? Because look, if all you do is consume, if all you do is what everybody else tells you should do, well, how effective is that, right? And yes, get good ideas. Yes, be the student. Okay. But then go demonstrate what you've learned, which then makes you what? Also, it makes you the teacher. It also makes you an example that others can look at and say, oh, my goodness, Linda got her act together. I can do so too, right? Wow. Wow. The stuff that Coral accomplishes is spectacular. I want to make a spectacle of myself, right? So you inspire not only yourself, but you inspire others. So we've got intent, we've got orderly movement, and we've got inspiration throughout all of that. Inspiration, meaning in spirit, right? In the spirit of accomplishment, of increase, of pleasing results, right? Faith, right? And of self-worth, self-esteem. I heard it said years ago that if you want good self-esteem, well, do esteemable things. Not just read about esteemable things, but do esteemable things. One of the reasons that I have developed a habit of exercise, for example, is because it's something that I know is good and right for me. It's an esteemable action. Therefore, I have good or better self-esteem when I show up in the rest of my workday, which usually doesn't include wearing a tie, but I just did this for you guys, just for you ladies. It's got to show up looking sharp for you ladies, right? But I show up with a higher level of self-esteem, self-acknowledgement, right? Because, hey, I'm in high integrity action. I gave myself a command and I did it. Now, in the case of a habit, it doesn't have to be on my calendar anymore. Although I think go to gym is on my calendar. I don't even look at it because I don't look at my calendar before I go to the gym, typically. So I habitually, that one doesn't actually have to be on my calendar anymore because, it's a habit. But how long did that take to create? Well, some would argue at least 21 days. I would argue 90. And how fortuitous. It's October 1st, 90 days till the end of the year or thereabouts. Is it exactly 90? So we got 31, 30, 31. So 90, 92 days. Yeah. Okay, great. So fine. You're probably not going to work on, Christmas Day or Thanksgiving, right? I know we got Canadian Thanksgiving coming up this month. We got American Thanksgiving, and I'm sure you guys across the pond, you got something, right? The Queen did something. I don't know. So forgive my ignorance. Forgive me. Yeah, just one of these knuckle dragging Yanks over here. But I think, look, I say this with love and respect. We can accomplish so much. And what did Napoleon Hill say? In every crisis is the seed of an equal or greater opportunity, right? We got a lot of crisis going on in the world right now, by design. Okay, but where's the opportunity in that? There's so much that we can accomplish as individuals and as groups, as business entities, as thinking people. There's so much that we can accomplish in this 90 days, right? You've heard the saying, if you got lemons, make lemonade. Okay. And I know some of you have been making some really tasty lemonade. It's really good. Like advance, right? The way out is the way through, right? Outproducing your yesterday's best, right? Overproducing, growing bigger than your current station in life, right? All of that stuff. That's all great theory. But when you experience it. And what that does, not only for your income, your statistics, whatever, but also your self-esteem. I believe that the more I produce, the better I feel about myself. So when I feel good, I do good, right? And when I do good, I produce good. When I produce good, I feel good. There's the upward spiral. Okay. I guess the question then is, how long does that take? And we just got the calendar telling us that, hey, here's a very, very obvious track that you could run on. Red carpet. It's called fourth quarter. Have at it. Start. Okay. Now, if we're sitting there wondering what to do, well, the firing, gun already went off, right? So start. and you can catch up. I mean, you've only lost a few hours. You can catch up, right? If we're having this conversation tomorrow, well, you lost another day, right? Let's not lose time. This was one of Ben Franklin's virtues. We've talked about that. It's probably been a year since we talked about Ben Franklin's virtues. But one of them was lose not time. Lose not time. Great reminder. Anyway, I love you guys. I've been talking for 20 minutes already. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts about it, or any statements or assertions about what this next 90 days, what you intend to produce in this next 90 days. Floor's open. Come on out, and please, I'll share the time. Who would like to talk? Come on out. 90 days, the final 90 days, or 92, or 91 and a half. Anybody have any thoughts on this?
Make a spectacle for ourselves. And
hey, Lindsay.
Hi. It's time we make a spectacle of ourselves. And
please do.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, and I figured out, if you call someone, they're not gonna. It's not that bad. Just keep calling. They're not gonna like riddle you full of bullets. I mean, that's not gonna happen. Realize that and just start calling. May hear all kinds of stuff, but yeah, 90 days. We can do anything in 90 days.
So you're talking about reaching out to potential clients and things like that. Okay, good. Well, let me ask you this, Lindsay. I think this is instructive for everyone. So is there a difference between you just not giving a damn and just doing the calls versus you with all your considerations about why you could, should, shouldn't? What will they say? What will they think?
Well, quit wasting time and find out.
Right.
Yeah, leave your considerations, leave your emotions at the door. I don't have an attachment to it. Just do it. There's a list. Get through the list and go for no if that's what you're getting, because it's good practice anyway. There's always more names you can find to call.
Right.
And just unattachment is a lot easier than attachment.
How freeing. Yeah. And how Dorothea Brand-ish, right? That you're acting as though it were impossible to fail. One way or another, you're going to get a result. Yep. And it's going to be whatever it is. So let's just get it done, and then it's done. And now we can know, because you can't know if you didn't do it.
You sit there wondering, and then that's wasted time as well. So,
right.
So yeah, just say, bow up on it and do it.
Beautiful. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Lindsay. Good times. Good times. All right. Anybody else? Any other thoughts on this next 90 days and what we shall accomplish? Says you. No other thoughts? Okay. Well, then with that, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm going to be back here with you at 6 p.m. Eastern U.S. time for our Be Heard session. So we can hear from you, because I'm very interested in anything you've got to say. And then for those of us who are joining, actually, it's just a handful of us getting together in Las Vegas.
Right.
Hey, Virginia, there's one of them. We're going to be there. I'll be showing up for a speaking engagement on the 9th and 10th, and then we're going to be heading out to the desert to shoot guns and get filthy dirty. Actually, it's not filthy dirty for this beginner's course. It's quite tame. Virginia, you have a comment?
I'm all dressed up. I did it. It's the first Friday of the month. I'm not in my pajamas. Okay, better take it now, because it's probably not going to happen again. And I didn't raise my hand sooner because I was finishing my hair. But anyway, I do have.
You look great.
Thank you so much. I am going out to see 2 doctors about Beamer products today. So I've got all that prepared. But there's so many, when you talked in the beginning about moving things forward in a timely manner, I heard maybe 6 months ago something that just keeps popping up into my mind whenever someone is, well, when are you going to do this? Oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week, or whatever. So, best book in the world, the Bible, which I have yet to read from cover to cover, but it's just got amazing things. I was reminded that, remember Pharaoh and the Egyptians, and they were all, I guess I'm in the dark here, Pharaoh and the Egyptians, and Pharaoh wouldn't let these slaves free, and You know, Moses had the parting of the Red Sea and all that. Well, you remember about the plagues that were supposedly settled down. So the second one, I was looking this up so I could tell you, the second one is the plague of frogs. So frogs were everywhere. They came out of the Nile River. They were all over the city. They were in your house. They were in your jars. They were in your bed. They were like everywhere, supposedly. How gross is that? So then Pharaoh summons Moses and Aaron, and he says, okay, pray to the Lord to take these frogs away from me, and I'll let your people go out to sacrifice. Because the whole premise was not let us go. The premise was let us go out to the desert and pray to our God, and then we'll come back, you know. So Pharaoh says to Moses, okay, pray to the Lord, take the frogs away from me and my people, and I'll let your people go to sacrifice the Lord. And Moses says, I will leave you to the honor of setting the time for me to pray for you and your house. And then everything, all the frogs will be gone except those that remain in the Nile. What does Pharaoh say when he wants him to do it? Right now, do it right now, right? Get rid of these frogs. I don't want to sleep another night with frogs. Does he say that? No, he says tomorrow. He says, oh, do it tomorrow. I'm like, serious? Pharaoh of all of Egypt. Now, I don't know how many people lived in Egypt at that time, but I know there were like 1 million Israelites or something ridiculous. So we're talking about frogs everywhere. And you would think he'd say, oh my God, you know, if you have the power to do this, pray now, do it right here in front of me, you know, or go out to wherever you need to go do it and do it. No, he says tomorrow, do it tomorrow. Weird. History is weird. People are weird. Why would you defer to tomorrow, getting rid of such an awful thing? So when I look at people and they have opportunities to do something that might be life-changing, and they're like, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow or maybe or next week or something. Why wouldn't you do it now? Why isn't this important? I don't know. But that pops up to me in so many, and I don't say it to people, but I just brings to my memory that, okay, well, some of the greatest men in history have said, do it tomorrow.
Right.
But not me. I'm going out today. I'm going to make this 90 days rock.
You got my vote. Awesome stuff, Virginia. Glad you're here, my friend. Looking forward to meeting you in person in just over a week.
All right.
Good times.
Everybody have a great Friday.
All right. You too. Anybody else? Last call? Okay. So I'll see you guys back here at 6 p.m. Eastern. Anybody who's got some ideas or questions or anything I can help you with, that's what I'm here to do. So I will see you then. Make it a great rest of your day until